Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete. We've got a very special, fun episode today. We're joined by Brandon from the Talking B94 podcast. Brandon, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
You know, it's been a while since you've been on. I think last time was a Purely Belter special where we deep dived into your love of behind the scenes Star Wars, which is obviously what your podcast, Talking B94, is all about. With the listeners who might not have heard that episode, do you want to quickly give them a rundown of what your podcast, Talking B94, is and why they should listen to it?
Yeah, I can give them what it is. I can't really necessarily tell them to listen to it. But yeah, Talking B94 is just my one-on-one interviews with the cast and crew of Star Wars. So anyone that worked professionally on the films or on the TV shows or on the books or comics or whatever it might be, and I try to talk to as many as I can. So some really cool names, some real big heroes of mine, and a lot more to come.
I think one of my favorite things about it is you draw from such a wide range of people connected with Star Wars. So you know, just recently, you know, I know you've had Mike Chen on, obviously author of Star Wars Brotherhood, the Kenobi prequel book, which came out just before the series, which I really enjoyed that interview. But then, you know, you also have the likes of you know, people who've worked on the original trilogy, you know, Tom Spina, who, you know, has pieced together some of those costumes from the original trilogy from the 70s. You know, now runs a company sort of, you know, creating and selling Star Wars merchandise that is prop quality. I just wanted to ask you about, obviously, you know, Celebration Anaheim that we've just had earlier on in the year, and obviously you were on the podcast stage and you had a live interview with Lucasfilm Story Group's Matt Martin. Were you nervous for that? It was a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed listening to it. Obviously, I wasn't there to watch it live, sadly.
Yeah, I appreciate you listening. Yeah, I had a blast. I had a real blast. It was very nerve-wracking, incredibly nerve-wracking, but it really turned out well, and it was really nice to see a bunch of listeners in person, and then also be able to share that, obviously, like you were able to listen to it after the fact too, and kind of being able to bring a piece of Celebration to a lot more people. But yeah, it was a real honor, a real treat, and of course Matt is the best, and so like having the excuse to get to talk to him and having the excuse to get to talk to him in front of all these people was really just an incredible highlight. Very, very cool.
Speaking of highlights, I was very jealous that I was not there because the gift you were giving away to people who attended your live podcast was absolutely wonderful, crazy, and just fantastic. Have you got any spare highlighters? Because I wouldn't mind having some in the post.
Good news for anyone that wants a highlighter as influenced by the incredible documentary The Beginning on the Phantom Menace DVD. I do have quite a few left, maybe like I would say 100 left, and I'll probably, if I'm ever like doing a t-shirt sale or something, put some in some orders. But honestly, I will be probably bringing them to Celebration London. So in that, when we see each other in London, hopefully I'll be able to give you a few.
I'm very excited. I'm even more excited for Celebration London now. I'm getting those. Speaking of Celebration London, obviously I've got passes. I'm very excited for that. You've got passes. I know you're
Mhm.
excited. How did you find the experience of buying the passes? Was it nerve wracking? Were you in and out quite quick?
It was very nerve wracking. I'm still a little PO'd by the whole experience. It, I mean, I got on 15 minutes early. I got in that line. Took about an hour to get my tickets. By the time I got my tickets, I don't know about you, but I had to. The 4-day passes were sold out, so I just had to get individual 1-day passes, which ended up being like $300 more in total than just getting a 4-day pass. So not great. Didn't love that, but I am just glad to have them to have the passes because I guess days are sold out, right? Didn't Saturday also sell out? I want to say, and so I'm just grateful to have them, and I'm excited to head over to England for the show.
Yes, I think as it stands today, VIP passes are sold out. They sold out in the first like 10 minutes.
Right.
4-day passes have sold out. I think they sold out in the first couple of hours, and then Saturday day passes have sold out now. Yes, that's correct.
Wild, wild. But hey, I've heard, maybe you can tell me. I don't know if you've been to Celebration Europe in the past, but I have heard that the show is a little bit smaller. Is that true? Just like um, in terms of
So,
attendance, in terms of.
so my first celebration was Celebration London in 2016.
Mhm.
So that was my first experience with it. Quite a crazy story actually. So I met um, Savannah Kiefer in the queue to get in Celebration Day One, and became friends with her there.
Yeah,
Obviously, Savannah, the Donkey Diva herself, quite a lot of Celebration experience. She was able to sort of give us the rundown of like where to go and what to do, what not to do, type of thing. But I think in 2016, I think a lot of people weren't quite aware of what Star Wars Celebration was.
mm,
Like, and I think now with YouTube only getting bigger and the content and
right,
people talking about it, I think this year, well, next year's celebration, I think it'll be a lot bigger in
right,
2016, just people wise, and I think the ticket sales prove that is
right.
because a lot more people know what it is now. Where at that celebration in London in 2016, this was before the sort of virtual queues and the panel lotteries. But like there was no, I mean, people did queue it overnight to get passes, but you could get in, and
Right.
if you got up early enough in the morning, you didn't have to stay overnight because British people tend not to
Yeah.
be that fanatic. If that makes
Uh
sense.
huh. Uh huh.
So, but I think that will be different now because I think the awareness of what celebration actually is. It's not just a Star Wars convention, is it? It's like it's the mecca.
Right. It's the
It's a
thing.
huge,
Yeah.
and I think people understand that now. So I think it could be a lot bigger. As for the actual size of the convention, I think in terms of the floor space, I think when in 2016 they didn't use all of the convention center, but it was still
Mm.
pretty big. But I think they could use there's more space there to utilize now. Um, and when I went in 2016, obviously all the main panels were in quite a big auditorium, which was really good. The smaller panels were in quite small rooms, where I think in America there's like those rooms are bigger.
Mm.
But I think you could make those rooms bigger just by customizing the site. Um, so I think they could fix that issue. I think. And another thing in Celebration 2016, they had a huge Rogue One exhibition where all the props and costumes were on display,
Yeah.
which wasn't really on show at Celebration Orlando when I went, or in Celebration Chicago
Mm.
when I went. There wasn't really that much stuff on show like that.
Yeah.
To the extent, obviously, I know Celebration Anaheim. I don't know if you managed to go in or not to the Mandalorian experience.
I did get to go to the Mandalorian experience, and I would hope that they do something similar for Celebration London. But yeah, so hopefully with that space that you're mentioning, that they're able to do something real cool.
Well, this Rogue One space was huge, and it had like everything from Krennic's cape to
Oh, love it.
to stormtroopers to mouse droids to little models of the Death Star to Star
Mm.
Destroyers. It was huge and fantastic and well spaced out as well. Um, so yeah, the Mandalorian experience. How awesome was that?
It was incredible. It I mean, being on the podcast stage was a real highlight, and of course, like seeing Harrison Ford and stuff was a real highlight, and the Kenobi premiere. But really, like, I really think that the most emotional, or the biggest thing for me was that Mandalorian experience, because I just didn't know what to expect, and it was just a surprise. Right, Favreau and Filoni announced it, and then I just kind of head there immediately afterwards just to check it out. No one had really gone yet, and so we only waited in line for maybe like 5 minutes, and then we get in, and it was, I mean, it was everything that I've ever wanted in terms of exhibits and how things were laid out, and it was everything. It was everything from season 1, season 2, and Book of Boba Fett all in one place, and it was really just like a real sight to behold. And I kind of like I did not know how to handle myself or what to do. Right? I turned the corner and there's everything, and my wife had to kind of lead me step by step, like each small exhibit at a time, and we spent about an hour and a half of me just looking at every detail, looking at every shot. It was just really, really fantastic.
If you could take only one thing from that whole exhibit and take it home and have it to keep, what would you choose and why?
It's easy. It's easy. They had an animatronic bantha, and it was like a real bantha, right? It moved. The tongue was sticking out. It would like come and look at you, and like I spent 10 minutes looking at that thing, and I would just keep that animatronic bantha right in my living room. I feel like just to have. It was probably the best thing I've ever seen.
Was it like a full-size bantha?
Full size bantha, moving and making noise, and it was like a real life bantha. It was crazy.
And it'd be even better if you could milk it, get some free blue milk.
I think that's I didn't even think about it that way, but that would help with protein, I'm sure, and that's a nice thing to think about for sure.
For me, it looks like the Mandalorian's custom Naboo starfighter was there. That would be what I would need. I mean, I've got nowhere to put it, but that would be what I would need. I think just the 12-year-old me would just need that.
Need that in your for sure.
I've heard that with the Naboo starfighter, inside sort of the droid port that is now a sort of a capsule for the child Grogu, was the actual animatronic Grogu inside there.
It was, and he would turn around and wave at you. Really, again, I spent so much time, and that was kind of in the center of it all, and so that was the final thing that we kind of hit, right? Because we did the outer circle, then the inner circle, and then finally the actual display of the ship, which also had like the BD-1 droid and Pelly's costume and wig and R5D4, and it was like a whole display. And then you don't even like notice that Grogu's looking at you, and it was really, really fantastic.
Well, I hope we do get something similar at Celebration London coming in 2023. I would even settle if it was just the stuff from Kenobi, a series we've already had, but there's a lot of awesome stuff in that series, so even if they just give us a Kenobi experience, I would be ecstatic for that.
Oh yeah, I really cannot wait. I really hope, and I mean, with Andor shooting over there, and with all these shows ramping up overseas, I feel like they'll be able to do the same exact thing with those shows as kind of like an additional bonus. I hope so. We'll see.
Definitely, I think my ticket buying experience for next year's Celebration London 2023 was I got in the queue pretty much bang on time for going live. It said it was going to be an hour, then it jumped to like 21 minutes. It was actually 21 minutes on that point as well, so I was sort of on time, got in the shop. By that point on Twitter, Twitter was saying that sort of the Jedi Master passes were sold out, the VIP passes. But when I got in, they were still there. Not that I wanted them because it was far too much money for me. But I was able to get new weekend passes and check out. Quite weird because I paid with a credit card. After putting the credit card details in, the credit card company texted me a authorization code, which I then put in to the website, and the card still got declined. And the credit card company texted me saying, "We think this is fraudulent, so we've declined it." I was like, "Yes, they've just sent us an authorization code like a minute before." So luckily, it said text yes if it's you, so I did, and then I was able to just hit pay again, and it went through no problem. So I did have one scary moment where I thought it was going to kick us out, and I was going to have to go back in, but luckily, I was able to get through. So I had quite a stress-free time apart from that, really. So I feel quite lucky because I know
Yeah,
a lot of people had a similar experience to yourself,
yeah,
and also that extra cost of buying those individual passes is quite a substantial amount of money.
yeah. No,
So
yeah, but
I
hey,
do
we're
feel quite
going.
lucky.
We're gonna be there. It's great, right?
Yeah, I just think once the excitement kicks in, what's going to be there, I think everything will be gravy, as we say sometimes in the UK. Speaking of celebrations, obviously we spoke a little bit about your experience at Celebration Anaheim. What were some of the more exciting things that you see in panels that you're excited for the future of Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the panels that really blew me away because I just didn't know what to expect was that Tales of the Jedi panel for the new animated short series show, and really just incredible stuff. That we were able to watch. I think it might have been the first episode featuring Ahsoka. But I'm really excited, not just for Ahsoka, but for the fact that we're getting young Qui-Gon and young Dooku stories. Really, really pumped for that. And it looked great, of course, and I'm just really excited for what opportunities that kind of storytelling brings.
Have they said how many episodes that's going to be?
I want to say that they said it was like 4 and 4, like 4 Ahsoka and 4 Dooku episodes. I could be pulling that out of my ass though. But it's not going to be too crazy, and also like the episode we saw was probably 12 to 15 minutes, and so it's going to be short in every sense of the word. But fantastic storytelling, at least what we saw already, and I'm all for short and sweet, contained Star Wars stories that kind of just add to the tapestry.
Yeah, definitely. If you think about Ahsoka and Dooku and Qui-Gon, probably not so much Qui-Gon. We've had a lot of their story covered in already with Clone Wars. Rebels with the Ahsoka novel, with the Dooku Jedi Lost audiobook, which I read as a normal book. So these episodes can be short after just focusing on certain aspects of time. So I'm quite excited for that series as well.
Yeah.
Going back to your podcast, Talk to Me
Yeah.
94, do you have a favorite interview that you've done either for the podcast, or I know you've wrote some articles as well for, is it Star Wars Insider?
Star Wars
So
Insider.
have you got a favorite interview that you've had with a member of someone who's worked on Star Wars?
Man, that's real tough. I think I've been able to talk to him twice, and it's just like such a thrill. Is Timothy Zahn, who I've loved since I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and his books have meant so much to me. And so I first got to interview him for Talking Bay. It was pretty early on in the podcast, and I got to interview him at San Diego Comic-Con at the Del Rey booth, and it was just me and him getting to like talk. And he was so gracious. And if you actually go listen to that story now, it's very funny because I kind of asked him like, has there ever been a Star Wars story that you've never been able to write? And this was, he had just published the first Thrawn book, the first canon Thrawn book. So this was, I mean, how many has he made now? Like seven after that. And so we were kind of talking through things that were not Thrawn related. And he brought up two things. One, he said, I would love to tell the story of Kenobi post episode 3 and knowing that he wants to get off planet, what that would look like and why he would go. And I'm like, okay, we already got that story now. Like he was predicting the future. And the second one is also happening right now, which is he wanted to tell the story of when Han is encased in carbonite in Empire Strikes Back, the journey that it takes for him to get from Bespin to Jabba's palace, and like the possibility that all the bounty hunters would be after that. And I'm like, well, we're getting that in the comic books right now. So very prescient interview. And then I was able to interview him. My first article ever for Star Wars Insider was interviewing him to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Thrawn trilogy, and it was such a formative series for me, and getting to talk to him was crazy. And then I got to talk to him the day after that episode where Ahsoka in The Mandalorian is like, where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? And he was excited and I was excited, and we were just kind of like sharing ideas and theories and just kind of like geeking out that Thrawn is maybe appearing in a future live action Star Wars TV show, and getting to have that experience with, again, someone that I've admired for so long, really, really is just incredible.
No, yeah, it certainly sounds incredible to be able to speak to someone who's done so much for Star Wars and such an incredible creator. I think the fact that you're able to speak to them is fantastic for you, but then the fact that you're able to capture that and have the conversations with these people that we all want to have, and then present them to us in podcast form for free. It's a great service. So thank you very much.
Oh yeah,
I
of course.
certainly enjoy them. And I think one of my favorite things about your podcast is that how snackable it is. The episodes tend not to be too long. Sort of it's straight to the point. The conversations, it's all the juicy stuff straight away. So I think it's almost like perfect length and like perfect exquisite details that we get. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for those kind words.
Speaking of, obviously, you've been to a convention, Star Wars Anaheim. I hear that you spent maybe a little bit of money in a Celebration store.
I did. You know me. Of course, I'm gonna spend some money. I was actually a pretty good boy, all things considered. I feel like at Celebration, I bought the High Republic book set. Really beautiful. A listener, Kevin, was able to help me get that. That was like my number one want from the convention, and then I was also able to get a really fantastic, and I actually will probably frame it up today and hang it up on my wall. But there was a Dex's Diner neon sign that was a replica of what's in Attack of the Clones, and I was like, oh, I have to have that. So very, very pleased to be able to add that to the collection. And then a lot of the stuff that I got at actual Celebration is stuff from listeners or stuff from other podcasts and content creators. And that's like my favorite thing was we talk about with the highlighters, like being able to share that and just kind of like, show off what all we brought and really get to connect even more with people that are so passionate and so excited to be there. Really was such a blast.
I think if you're going to put that Dex's Diner sign up, you need to learn the recipe to make a Jabba juice.
That's a great point. I really shouldn't put it up until I master the Java juice, right? That seems only fair and only accurate. I'm kind of looking around my office right now trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. And I think I just discovered the spot. So we'll see what happens.
I saw those the High Republic books that you're talking about with the sort of the lovely covers, and they're almost are they engraved with sort of symbols of the Nile? Is that right?
It's I think it's Arabesh. I'm looking at them right now. I think it's like gold leaf Arabesh, and then on the inside they're each signed by the author, and they're bound in leather. Really, and they're huge. They're bigger than any other book on that shelf, but really, really fantastic. Like really, probably the most beautiful Star Wars books I've ever seen.
I was certainly jealous when I seen those on sale. I was like, "Oh, I wish I was there. I really need those." And I was hoping to reach out to someone I know to get them. But I thought by the time they buy them, and then if they ship them to the UK, there's no way they're going to arrive here like in perfect condition. So I was like, I'll just have to wait.
I wonder because they kind of mentioned that there was going to be stuff going up on the Celebration store, of any extras. And to be frank with you, the store itself was a little mismanaged, as they always are. I always learn never go to the first day, unless like I got lucky this year where one of my buddies had one. I kind of tagged along as a +1. That's when I grabbed the sign. But by the last day, I walked in at the very end, and a lot of the shipments still hadn't come in. They were just like handing out stuff for free. I got those like Jedi rocks for free because like they had just come in that day, and there was like there's no way that we're gonna like be able to give these to everybody. And then there was still books left, and that the kind of stuff that you would assume was all gone. A lot of it was still there, and so I wonder whenever it finally goes back up on sale, because they have to get rid of that inventory at some point. I wonder if those books will be a part of it.
I think they've announced that the store is selling the remainder of the Anaheim stock now. I think currently now, and then after for a certain time, then it's going to start selling the London pre-orders soon. I think. So I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the tip.
Yeah.
But my wife will not thank you.
Yes, for that. The book set is not the cheapest thing in the world. I'll say that. I was like, oh, interesting, but very much worth it.
Speaking of things that maybe are not cheap, things that maybe are expensive. I know that you are a eBay hunter, hunting for the Star Wars finds, the Star Wars treasures.
Yeah.
I recently had a interview with Silver, Star Wars thrifter,
Yeah.
and I know that you guys over in the States, you have a lot of access to a lot of Star Wars treasures that we don't necessarily get access to in the UK.
Hmm.
Talk me through some of your favorite eBay finds.
Yeah. Oh, let me think recently. What I've been on kind of a kick recently, and it's not necessarily Star Wars, but it's Indiana Jones and anything involved with like the Indiana Jones Disney stuff. I think is so fascinating. So I bought like a Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular pennant that was in very good condition. I was very happy to get that because I was actually, I always tweet like, "Don't let me buy this," on Twitter, and that was the first time I ever tweeted that actually was for a pennant, for an Indiana Jones pennant, and I tweeted it, and someone bought it. Someone else saw it and bought it. Because of that tweet, and then I spent like 3 more years looking for one, and I learned my lesson to never actually tweet about something that I actually really want. But I finally have one. It's all framed up now. What else have I gotten recently? I've been doing a bunch of hats. I love getting like crew hats. I just got one for the Magic of the Myth Smithsonian tour that I was really jazzed to get. What else? I got an ILM Episode 7 puffy vest for like, I think it was like $75, but like in my size. It's one of those ones that have like the Roman numerals, like the 7 on it that you see on the jackets a lot, and so I'm very excited to bring that out when it gets not 100 degrees in Texas. Um, what else? But yeah, I really love cast and crew items. I really love weird things that not necessarily have been mass produced. And it's just kind of a running eBay search every day. And then the new thing that my wife, you mentioned your wife, my wife is not too happy about is this thing. I don't think it's available in the UK just yet. It might be. I think it might just be Canada and the US, but it's an app called Whatnot, WHATNOT, and it's a live bidding platform. Specifically, it's been built for comic books, really, but also like trading cards and action figures and stuff like that. And so I've been really bolstering my Star Wars comic book collection through there and getting some very good deals. But it's been a whole new thing because you just kind of like it's like you watch a TV show. It's like watching like a live QVC or something like that. But you're able to bid and able to like interact and get very good deals. And so I actually have a bunch of packages coming today of some of those items. So I'm excited to see them in person.
Yeah, I'm big into sort of figure collecting, and there's a wrestling figure podcast I listen to, the major wrestling figure podcast, and they're on Whatnot. So I try to get the app, but you're right. I can download the app and see it all, but it's all like US and Canada right now. So
yeah.
I'm sort of disappointed, but like the wallet is very happy. I think.
That's the yes, case. Yeah, and when it gets over to the other side of the pond, your wallet's going to be upset because right now you can just kind of enjoy it without spending any of the money.
Definitely. I recently got so I pre-ordered the Star Wars Black Series George Lucas and Stormtrooper Disguise figure. So I pre-ordered it on Hasbro Pulse. And that arrived, and then like I must have pre-ordered somewhere else as well by accident. So 2 arrived, which I don't really mind so much. But when the wife was like, "Isn't that one that just arrived yesterday?" Big trouble, mate.
It's better than having 2 is better than having 0. Because I ordered one from Entertainment Earth. I ordered my own of that figure, and it came bent. The whole package was busted, and so I emailed them like, "Hey, no problem. Send it back to us. We'll send you another one." And so I did. It took me some time. You repackage it. You go to the store. You put it back in, and then they emailed me saying, "This is out of stock. We can't get you another one." And I'm like, What's going on? Luckily, like they're not too expensive right now. Like I just need to like buy another one for $30 on eBay or something. But that is my George Lucas and Stormtrooper Disguise story because it is not the journey that I was hoping that it would take.
it's often ups and downs with the figure collecting. That's what
Ups
I
and
find.
downs. Yeah, and I really don't collect that many. And so when it's something like this, and I'm so excited for it, it's a little disappointing for sure.
What's the one item on eBay that you've come across that you really wanted but were outbid on?
Ooh, outbid on? I don't know. Let me look. I can look at my previous. I'll tell you the thing that I'm trying to do right now that um that is out of my reach, a little financially, but mostly just because it doesn't really exist. Is the Raiders of the Lost Ark crew hat from when they filmed the movie. There is one on eBay right now for $2,000, which is a lot of money.
Ooh.
A lot of money. And like a couple years ago, they were going for about $600, which is a little more palatable. Especially, I was buying it for myself as like I'm turning 30 this year, so like that'd be a nice big present for myself. But 2,000 is a little out of my price range. So if anyone listening has one and is wanting to sell for less than $2,000, you reach out, and I'm a motivated buyer right now.
Steven Spielberg, if you're listening and you've got a spare one, send one to Brandon and he'll love you forever.
Oh yeah, Spielberg, we're on thin ice. I really never liked that many of your movies. No, I was thinking about that this weekend because I was gonna watch Jaws last night, but I got in town too late. But I was like, man, Steven Spielberg has made so many perfect movies. It really is just mind blowing how talented he is.
My I think pound for pound, or like shot for shot, he's probably the greatest director of all time. Because if you think about how many different genres he's did well, I don't think any other directors touched that.
Right. No, I completely agree. Especially, I mean, like you mentioned genres, I think that's a great way to categorize them in the sense that like we just watched West Side Story and it was beautiful, and like the Spielberg flair that he added to already a classic story. I was like no one else can do this. But you also think about being commercially viable and still being a great storyteller is a very tough thing, right? You think about someone like Michael Bay, who is kind of, like the Transformers movies kind of devolve a little bit, and so like even if you are good at like the technique of making movies, you're not necessarily an auteur, and Spielberg really walks that line so beautifully, right? You think about, of course, like the things like Indy or like Jaws or like Close Encounters, but then you also think of things like Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List or even like West Side Story, and it really is like incredible that so many of his do so well. And also like every single time change movies forever, right? You have Jurassic Park changing movies forever, without like it's almost like effortless for him. So really, we're on a tangent now, a Steven Spielberg tangent, but truly one of the greatest.
Yeah, I think my only not concern, my only wish, is as time ticks on, I think we sort of the window for Spielberg to do his Star Wars is fading fast, and he's very busy with all of that stuff. But like, I would love, especially now when there's so many different eras that we can tell Star Wars stories in. I hope he does get to do, even if it's an episode of a series. But I hope Steven does a Star Wars before he hangs up the hat.
Well, we have had him do the animatics for the Mustafar battle in Revenge of the Sith, right? So that's I think the closest we'll ever get, and I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. But yeah, a Steven Spielberg directed episode of Mando or something would be crazy, right? That would just be absolutely insane.
Well, I would love a series, a Star Wars series, a standalone series. It can be about anything, right? But each one directed by sort of one of the George and his friends. So George can do one, Stephen can do one, Francis Ford Coppola can do one,
Walter
Brian De
Murch
Palma,
could
I
do
see one.
De Palma, De Palma, Star Wars. I would freak out, man. That De Palma's the guy. De Palma's the man. I would love that.
So I think that would probably be very expensive to get all those people together, but I think we should just do it. Let's
just do it.
Disney's got the money. Do it.
Just do it.
Speaking of Disney, going to flip it around. Obviously, you've been to, you live in America, so it's a bit closer for you to get to. You've just been to Anaheim. Did you go to Galaxy's Edge?
Went to Galaxy's Edge. Went to Galaxy's Edge twice, actually. Was very lucky to do so. we went the day before the convention started and really kicked it off in a wonderful way because we were able to get drinks at the cantina with Sky Talkers and with Blast Points. And it was like just like fantastic. Blast Points had never been, and so like seeing them freak out was so much fun. And then we went Star Wars night. They had a special ticketed event after hours, I believe on that Friday, and so that was a lot of fun because the park was pretty empty. They had some special stuff, but really it was like doing as much of Indiana Jones as possible and as many Star Tours rides as possible, and it was so much fun because especially the Indiana Jones ride is just like so good, and being able to ride that, we were just like running through the halls of that queue without like having to wait 2 hours, and it was just really really fantastic.
What's your favorite drink in Galaxy's Edge?
Oh, that's tough. I went to the one in Florida, and blue and green milk, right? That's the discussion. It's like, what's better, blue and green milk? I like the blue milk, but in Florida, you can add alcohol to it. I think you can add rum to the blue milk, and that makes it the best drink. And you can walk around with a rum blue milk, and you're like, this is the dream. This is great. And the starships are flying overhead, and you're like, that's it. That's all I need. This is all I want.
And what's your favorite bite to eat in Galaxy's Edge?
This is such a stereotypical answer, but the Ronto wrap is I think the best theme park food ever made. It is a perfect theme park food. It is so good and just like so enjoyable, and it's also fun that it's like a uniquely Star Wars sort of thing. But really, I don't want to hype up the Ronto wrap too much for people that have not had it before, but it is so good, and I have like 3 of those every time I go in there because you miss it. You really miss it.
And they're cooked on pod race engines, is that right?
They're cooked straight on a pod race engine by an 88 droid. It's like, what else can you ask for? What else could you possibly want?
What I want to know is, what on earth is a tip yip?
Tip yip is so it's chicken is the food that's actually served, right? That's what it is. But a tip yip is on Endor. They're on Endor. They show up. I think they show up in the background of Return of the Jedi, maybe. But they've kind of popped up every so often.
I'm excited. I've not been to Galaxy's Edge yet, so I'm hoping to go sometime in the next couple of years. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm very excited. I think Disneyland Paris is getting its own Star Wars area. I don't think it's going to be the full shebang like Batuu,
right?
But I'm waiting to see what it actually looks like. But I'm excited for what that could be, and even if it's not Batuu and not its own little world, but if it has things like the tip yip and like the Ronto wrap available.
Oh, that'd be so good, right? That'd be, and honestly, it'd be almost cooler to have something completely unique as opposed to in Florida and in California being at the exact same, right? So having something a little bit different would be great.
What's your thoughts on the Rise of the Resistance ride?
Oh, it is, again, don't want to hype things up too much. It is the greatest ride that Disney's ever made. And I love Disney rides, and I have, it's between that and really, again, the Indiana Jones ride for just like being so immersive and so much fun. And again, the fact that it is Star Wars and done so well is just such a treat. And like as Star Wars fans, we're so lucky that something like that exists. I don't want to like spoil anything or give too much away, but it's like so many different ride systems, and it's like a 15-minute experience, and you truly feel like you are in Star Wars, which is such a rare thing. And it is worth the wait, and it is worth the effort that it takes to get on there, because it truly is just really, really incredible.
The biggest thing I've heard that gets me most excited about it is that, from what I've heard, people have wrote it, is that it's that immersive that you don't realize where the queue starts and ends, and the ride begins and ends.
Yeah. And you have so many. There's so many different elements of the ride, and so like, I really don't know where you could technically say the queue is ending, because there's all these different things that happen that feel like rides in themselves, but you are still technically in a line, and you're still technically not to the final part of the ride, which is just crazy.
I think, yeah, I think I really want to ride. I really want to ride that ride just because I've heard so much about it and how it is sort of a one of a kind ride. And then Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon ride, which I've heard mixed things, and I've heard it's not much different from Star Tours apparently. But for me, I think just being in the cockpit of the Falcon,
It's huge. Yeah, it really. Yeah, the ride is fine. The ride's fun. I love riding it, and especially it's fun when you have a group of people because you have 6 seats in the ride. And so if you're riding with strangers, it's not as fun. But like again, we rode it. It was me and my wife, and then Charlotte and Caitlin from Skytalkers, and Jason and Gabe from Blast Points, all in the cockpit together, and that was so much fun because we were all just like yelling at each other and hyping each other up, and it can be so cool. And then the queue is great, and seeing the Falcon up close is great. And then going inside, you're able to sit at the chess table, and you're able to explore, and you really do feel like you're in the Falcon, which is wonderful. And so, some of the gamified elements of it all aren't my favorite of all time, but it's still like you get to be in the Millennium Falcon, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy.
What's some of your favorite Disney rides that aren't Star Wars or Indiana Jones related?
Let me think. That's a great question because I could literally go to Disneyland and just ride Indiana Jones and Star Tours and Rise of Resistance and stay at Galaxy's Edge and then be like, that was worth the time. I do love in Disney World. I love the Pandora whole world, and then I especially love the what is it called? Flight of Passage. Really beautiful ride and really just so much fun. But that whole world is so like incredibly themed that it really is hard to be cynical. They're like, oh, they made a Pandora world or whatever. Like, it's just so beautiful. What else do I love? In Magic Kingdom, I've always loved just the whole a vibe of everything, but then the new edition of the Snow White Seven Dwarves Mine Train is a lot of fun. I love Big Thunder Mountain. I think it's a perfect roller coaster. And yeah, I'm a big. There's a documentary on Disney Plus, which I'm sure you might have seen or at least heard of, the Imagineering story, and it really is like I love it more than I love the like. If I say like there's one thing on Disney Plus to watch, it is the Imagineering story documentary series. It is fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that documentary is absolutely wonderful. Definitely check it out. I think. Obviously, I've been to Disneyland Paris a few times, and I've also been to Disney World. I think my favorite rides in America are probably I just absolutely adore Tower of Terror. Just the whole aesthetic, the queue, the video that comes on. I love Tower of Terror, and one of my favorite experiences was we were still on Disney property, so we had magic hours, so we were allowed in the park like after everybody else had gone home. And you were able to sort of ride Tower of Terror with no queue, and then run across and do Aerosmith, and then run backwards and forwards for like an hour and ride them like 5 times each. That was one of my favorite experiences because I love both those rides. Absolutely wonderful. And I think Disneyland Paris, that's where I went as a child, and nothing beats Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, that ride in Paris just blew me away as a kid and still does now. I haven't been on it in so long where I'm almost scared to go back and ride it in case it doesn't like live up to how I remember it. But one day I will. But yeah, the Paris Park is beautifully built. The way it looks is fantastic, and that Pirates ride is fantastic, and also the Thunder Mountain Railroad ride in Paris is absolutely fantastic as well.
Oh, I've seen video of that, and I've seen like how it's built and how it's situated, and it's beautiful. And again, like that's one of my favorite rides, and I would love to ride that in Paris because it looks so cool.
And then we also have in Paris a Indiana Jones coaster, but it goes backwards.
Yep.
Which is a wonderful ride. And speaking of merchandise, so when I was about early teenager, we went and I had the Indiana Jones ride cap, which I don't know where that is now.
Oh no!
This is 20 years ago. So I'm like hoping my mom and dad finally move house that it gets like found. But
yeah,
who knows? That was a cool little Disney side stuff.
Oh, I love it. I can talk about that for forever for sure.
I think a ride that I've not done is I have not done. I've never done Soarin'. So I know there's one obviously in California, which I've not been to. There is a Soarin' Epcot, isn't there?
Yes, there's a Soaring Epcot, and we actually just rode the one Soaring when we were in Disneyland, and my wife had never ridden it, had no idea what to expect. I love it. I think it's fun. I never was able to ride. There was apparently a Soaring over California specialized ride that doesn't really exist, and where they bring it out for special occasions and stuff. But Soaring is fun. I mean, it's if you've never ridden it, you're not like missing much, but it is like a fun, different ride that's very much a like a Disney Imagineer, like completely created from scratch. The whole ride system is their idea, which is always very, very cool.
Speaking of Disney and the Imagineering story, what's your favorite Disney era? So I think mine is the Michael Eisner era.
I think I have to agree with you with the Eisner era, especially that's just kind of like when I was born and what I was doing and what I was consuming, and it's easy to kind of be like, oh, they were so commercial and so only focused on Disney stores and on merch and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, you look on it with the nostalgia, and it really is just kind of a fun time for sure.
Certainly is. Have you got any Star Wars hot takes or anything that you're really looking forward to in Star Wars you want to talk about before I dive into a little bit of Russian roulette with you?
Hot takes. What hot takes? Do I have any hot takes? No hot takes. My new thing is people should like Star Wars, and if you don't like Star Wars, then don't worry about talking about Star Wars. There's so much more to watch and so much more to do, and there's a lot of people that come up to me like, oh, I love Star Wars too, and then they just love episodes 4 and 5 and think the Ewoks are silly, and then didn't like the prequels, and then didn't like the sequels, and they liked like 2 video games. I'm like, you didn't like Star Wars, man. It's fine. Go do something else. You don't have to make a YouTube channel about it. So that's my hot take. If you don't like something, Star Wars or otherwise, don't worry about it.
Yeah, definitely. So at my place of work, I've just sort of moved locations. I was talking to a girl there about Star Wars. She was a young girl. I think she's only 17, and she was like, "Peter, you always wear these T-shirts that have Star Wars on." I was like, "Yeah." She went, "Do you like Star Wars?" I was like, "Well, yeah, obviously." She went, "Well, what is it you like about it?" So I got talking about it, and this older man comes over who I'm not quite familiar with because I'm new to the site, and he's like, "Well, the originals are the best, but like the rest are like rubbish." And then I was like, "All right, okay." And then like just continue talking to her, and then like I heard him in the background say, "Oh well, I've just went to talk to people about Star Wars, but like he's not he's like not talking to us about it." And I was like, "Well, no, because you've just like I'm not going to argue with you, but like if you
Right.
if you only like one aspect of it, that's fine. But like I'm trying to talk about all aspects of it here to this person, so." I'm not going to sit and argue with you about that because that's your opinion. That's fine, but also I probably don't want to talk to you about it either. So yeah, like it's so much more than just that sort of narrow view, isn't it? I think. Do you know what I mean? Like to say like, oh, only watch this bit and don't do the others. You could say these are the bits I like the best, or these are the ones I really enjoy. But like the word it the other way, it's just like I don't know, just quite off-putting. I find. Are you ready for some? I'm calling it Russian roulette. I don't even know if that's what it is. So, what it is I've got sort of. I'm going to name 2 things, and you're only allowed to pick one. And
Okay.
the one you don't pick, you'll never ever get a chance to see or get ever again.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well, okay, so Russian roulette part 1. Drew Struzan hadn't drawn original poster for Star Wars.
Okay.
Or an original piece of Doug Chang concept art.
Is it Doug Chang concept art that was used for the movie? Or is it like a sketch illustration by Doug Chang?
It's a fully piece of concept art, movie quality.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Struzan. Just because this is I have a piece of I have a small sketch from Doug Chang. He did a small battle droid for me when I wrote to him when I was like 9, and he did it in a little book. So technically, I have a small little battle droid. If that disappears, if that that goes away, if I say this, then um, uh, but I think I still have to go with the Juice Drews, and I've been to the gallery. I've been to his personal gallery. I've gotten very close to buying a couple pieces. One day I'll have a piece, I think.
What would you have in the piece you would buy?
So I mean, like, you have to think about what is available and what's not available. And all the major posters are gone, right? All the major posters are gone. There are a few, like his book covers are still available, and the one that always gets me, that is a beautiful piece, but also is up my alley, is the Glove of Darth Vader book cover that he did, which is available, and I could buy it. I'm looking it up right now for you to tell you how much it would be for this bit. $50,000. If I want to spend $50,000 on the Glove of Darth Vader original portrait, I could do that. He also has I, Jedi for $35,000. He has Prophets of the Dark Side for $50,000. Any of those could work, but we'll see.
Russian Roulette Part 2.
Okay.
You can have a sort of handwritten Star Wars music that is handwritten by John Williams and signed by John Williams.
Okay.
Or in your house tomorrow, Ludwig Göransson will come round and play a live concert of Mandalorian music.
Dang. I think I have to go with the John Williams. If only because I feel like, we've gotten some very cool John Williams concerts at celebrations. Honestly, that if I want to throw a prediction for next year's celebration, I bet they bring Ludwig out to play live. So I feel like he's a lot more attainable now than John Williams is at his age and everything. So I'll go with Johnny.
Good choice. Russian Roulette Part 3. So you can have the actual lightsaber used on set for Return of the Jedi for Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
Or assigned A New Hope shooting script by George Lucas.
Gotta go with the lightsaber, man. Gotta go with the lightsaber, 100%. That's without a question.
I think the next one might be hard for you.
I'm nervous.
Russian Roulette Part 4. Screen worn Indiana Jones jacket.
Yep.
Or screen worn Han Solo either vest jacket or the Bespin vest, the longer sleeve.
Oh, this is real tough, man. These are the real tough questions. I think I'm gonna have to go Indy jacket, man. If only because I just yesterday I sent a note to a couple of buddies because I think I've been trying to get this crew cap like I mentioned earlier and really no avail, and so I kind of have a tiny bit of a budget, and I have found all of the original manufacturers of Indy's gear. They're based in the UK. But it's the people that made his hat are still making the hat. The people that made his jacket and shirt are still making the jacket and the shirt, and you can get the actual versions. And so I'm very tempted. I almost did it last night. I almost pulled the trigger on buying the jacket because you can buy. They call it the hero jackets. Like, this is exactly what Harrison Ford wore. And it has a little patch inside that says like this was made by the people who made the original. Blah blah blah. But I would love the original. The original would just be obviously a piece of movie history.
Russian Roulette Part 5 up to? I think it's 5. A screen used Porg or mouse droid.
Oof. The Porg would be cool because it's a puppet, right? And Brian Herring was doing and that'd be cool to have, like, because I'm sure it would also come with all the armatures and everything. But man, I love the mouse droid. I'm really going on a original trilogy kick. I'm not, I love the original trilogy. It is my favorite trilogy, but it seems like a little much. But I'd have to go mouse droid, just because I love those things. I have a miniature one on my bookshelf right now, but I would love the real deal.
Russian Roulette Part 6. The actual armored best Jar Jar headpiece that he wore during the Phantom Menace. You know the one I mean? The one
I
with
know
sort of the
exactly. I know
visor across
exactly
the
what you
eye?
mean. Yep.
Yep. Or screen used monkey brain prop from Temple of Doom.
Oh man, I was about to be like, "This is so easy. This is the easiest." The Jar Jar headpiece. Um, man, I think I have to go Jar Jar headpiece. Just because I love, I mean, that is the best. Although they just sold one of the monkey pieces on Prop Store a couple weeks ago. I forgot how much it went for. Probably like 20K. But that would maybe freak out the wife a little too much. So we'll go Jar Jar.
And lastly,
Okay.
would you rather have a so you can either have the original IG-88 prop
Uh-huh.
from the bridge of the Star Destroyer and Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Or, now I know that none of these were really used in the making of the actual movie itself because it's all CGI. Or you can have that battle droid from the documentary that Steven Spielberg can't put together properly.
It's the same exact one? It's the same exact one.
It's the same exact one, but he will refuse to sign it. That's
That's
the only
fine.
kick.
That's fine. But so his arm would be a little broken. Like you could tell, like one of his arms is a little broken by Steven Spielberg. I would definitely go the Battle Droid. I love IG-88. I think he's great. I almost want more than the IG-88 itself, which is just a beautiful sculpture that Bill Hargreaves made, and then they kind of had someone just kind of like slowly turn a head or have a couple of eyes in there. I would love, and Tom Spina has made it a few times, but the actual head, of course, is a jet engine part, which means that you can technically get like an original real one, and that's also what they use for the cantina in episode 4 behind the bar. And I would love just one of those. I would love like that piece. So I'll go Battle Droid. Steven Spielberg Battle Droid.
I love the fact, I don't know if you've been to I don't know the exact name. It's Jock's Hangar Bar in Disney Springs.
I have.
And obviously they've got the IG heads behind the bar there in certain areas. If you have a look, I don't know if you ever noticed those.
Can you repeat that?
Sorry. So if you go to Jock's Hangar Bar in Disney Springs, obviously the Indiana Jones themed bar, there is the IG-88 heads are sort of are behind the bar in certain areas. Which I thought was a really cool touch.
I really loved Jock's Hangar Bar. I had a great time. It was me and Fabio from Tatooine Times. We met there, and we had never met before, and so it was a great time to catch up. And then I was like, I was ready, right? I was pumped to be there, and so I knew that they give away a pin. They give away a little like flying wings pin for the people that are there first of the day. And I think we were not, but I was like, I really want one. Like, could I have it? And then they gave it to me, which is very nice. I have it over here. And then I was also like, oh, like I love your coasters. Could I get some of your coasters? And they gave me a whole set of all the like Club Obi-Wan, all those coasters, because they're all like Indiana Jones references. I had such a great time at that bar. And then I also got my little monkey head tiki mug that I still have on my sink. So real good.
So I actually have the on my desk now. I mean, I stole them out the bar, but I mean, I didn't steal them because they're free. But I've got like the Nevada's famous Atomic Calf. I've got the Python bar, and I've got the Cafe Noir coasters from Disney Springs. I haven't got a Club Obi-Wan one, which now you've said that, I'm like, I didn't see that one. Damn it!
Yeah,
So that would be the one.
That's the one, right? But real good, real good. Great bar.
I did have a Jock's Hangar Bar t-shirt. That was my favourite t-shirt.
Ooh, that's great.
But I wore like a little hole in it.
Oh,
and then when I first started going out with my wife, like she made us get rid of it because I had a hole in.
Oh no!
And I've got.
I didn't even know they had t-shirts. That's a new eBay search for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they sold them at the bar, so I don't know how much they'll be on eBay, but you might be able to just get one direct from Disney Springs. I mean, not like you're close to Disney Springs, but next time you're there, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I make the trip right now just to just to do it.
Do you have any of the legacy lightsabers that are sold at Disney parks?
I don't. I've never actually bought any of those. I have a couple Master replicas and a couple Hasbro Force Effects sabers, and then I built one when I was at the Disney park. That's like my own, but not necessarily the legacy saber. So I think I have an Obi-Wan Revenge of the Sith lightsaber, and I have a Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi Force Effects lightsaber, and then I built my own as well. But that's a whole rabbit hole that I probably shouldn't go down. I will say, the one thing that I'm trying to do is get an original Graflex flash, and I think that will be a legacy enough for me.
Definitely, I know someone who has the Graflex flash in the middle of converting it into sort of how it would look on set as the prop. And seeing the pictures, it does bring back sort of, not even bring back, but just seeing it and the transformation that he's doing with it. It's just, it just brings back sort of big nostalgia feelings, huge feels. It's crazy. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we wrap up this delightful conversation?
Let me think. I'm having a blast, so I don't want it to end, but I don't want to force any conversation. But I will say, just anytime you let me know, and I'll jump on. We can the roulette. I'll say it when you post it. I'm blown away with how good those questions were. Because really, those were some of the toughest choices I've had to make in a very, very long time.
Well, I started off sort of writing them like fun, and then I just got more mischievous as I was writing them.
Like, how do I make Brandon really squirm while I'm talking to him? Yeah, it really worked.
But no, so I could even come up with a whole segment of other ones if you want, and we can shoot.
I'm in.
Sometime soon.
You let me know, and I'm there.
Spot on. What is your tipple of choice? Because when we go to Star Wars Celebration London, we will be having a nice drink in a bar somewhere. What are we drinking?
Ooh, I'm drinking. I'm a real simple boy. I like a nice, not bottom shelf, but medium shelf whiskey, or a bourbon, and then a couple cubes of ice, and I'll get toasted on a few of those, and that's it. Since I'm in London, like I love something out of the tap. I love something on draft. So I kind of alternate between the two of those, and I can hold my best with the best ones. So I'm ready, and I'm ready for that drink. I'm counting on it.
I know. I mean, I don't live in London. I live up north, but I know a really good draft house in London that we'll have to go and try lots of different draft beers. I'll take it there. Don't worry.
Cannot wait. Yeah, what we're trying to plan right now is like a whole, not just flying out just for those 4 or 5 days. So we'll probably be there for about 2 weeks, and I've never been to Oxford or I've been to London once when I was in school, but not since. So I'm excited. To go for it.
Well, if you get here early and you want to come up north to Newcastle, I'll be happy to show you the best places to eat and drink.
Ooh, this is real tempting. I might just reach out. Well, I'll keep you posted.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Brandon. I really do appreciate it. Where can the listeners find you on social media?
You can find me at Talking Bay 94 anywhere. Just Twitter and Instagram especially, and then sometimes I'm on Facebook too. And then listen to Talking Bay 94 anywhere you listen to podcasts. And would love if you love me trying to buy things on eBay or just dumb behind the scenes facts. I'm the guy for you.
You certainly are. I do live bi-curiously through your posts, and as I said, through Silver, the Star Wars Thrifters posts on social media, because I just would love to be in a situation where I could acquire those awesome things. Obviously, I think your last episode was with the last episode I listened to was with Derek Arnold.
Yep.
Who's on the next episode coming up?
Got some good ones. I'm going to edit it tonight. He is the voice of Luke Skywalker in Lego Star Wars. His name is David Menken. Real nice guy. Real excited to be in Star Wars. I think this is probably his first interview since he was officially, there. So I'm excited for people to hear his story. And then tonight, so fingers crossed, this is exclusive for you. Hopefully it happens. I'm interviewing Steve Boyle, who was a makeup effects artist for a lot of the Star Wars movies and is super, super talented. So I'm excited for people to hear that. And again, not often being interviewed. So I'm excited for some of the prequel love because he also played like Ask Ak and Paso Angrente or whatever in Attack of the Clones, as well as like designing everybody. So really exciting stuff coming up.
Definitely. I recommend anybody listening, if you haven't listened to Talk to Me 94 and you love Star Wars, check it out. Episodes are usually snackable, nice and short. Plenty juicy information about Star Wars from the people who were there working on Star Wars live and in living colour. And Brandon does a great job of interviewing them, so definitely check it out. Definitely check out Brandon's Twitter because, like I said, you can live vicariously through some of the awesome eBay finds that he finds. And he'll pretend to get you to talk him out of it, but really he wants you to talk him into it so he can spend the money and doesn't get wrong off his wife, which is a nice talk.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. Really just always such a blast.
Thank you very much for listening, listeners. Remember, always tell that to Cancha Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.